I mentioned my discussion with Professor Debashish Chatterjee. I am Kozhikode director, he was, where he said that you only add your own story. So what do you want to give the world in your story? Is a question that you should try to think of. The mere consciousness of that is enough for you to clear these interviews, etc. Because normally you go, I mean, the interview boards, etc. They go through days and days of students coming in with the same mindsets and the same thought processes. So the moment you change it into a different league, your chances of selection automatically go up. So the why MBA answer, according to me, and you can also ask these profs, etc. after the session is over, whether they corroborate that or they might also give you better answers. But according to me, the answer has to be value add. Plain and simple. Now, what dimension of value add? That you can define based on the course, etc. So if I'm going to appear for an interview, let's say at TAPME BKFS, I would typically do a research of the course. I would typically do a research of the 2 years of the subjects. And my interview I would want to take onto why they are teaching that subject. I might want this thing. I might want to take the interview into that dimension. Or I might want to just pull it. It's very easy to pull the interview board into where you want them to be. I've started interview boards at IIM Bangalore, so I know this. The moment somebody says something like, I'm very interested in this course in the second year, one of these things that I'm interested in, you are bound to, you don't have an option as an interview board but to ask him about that course. So anybody who has done this is automatically out of the league. Right? So that's the first dimension of what this thing. The introduce yourself answer. Again, as one of the girls here was saying, that in the introduce yourself answer obviously goes without saying. It's quite logical to think of that you should not repeat what's there on the profile or biodata. It has to be something outside that. So that's where those words that I gave you come in. Now, one of the things that you should, during a prep process, one of the mistakes people make is that people try to write answers. I've seen this. People try to write answers कि इस question का क्या answer मेरा रहेगा, and then they try to memorize it. That's not how you prepare for an interview again. Because if you try to memorize answers word by word, when you go there, you'll fail. Right? उस question को थोड़ा सा twist करके पूछ लिया जाएगा, तो you don't have an answer for it then. Instead of that, what you should have is you should have your ideas clear. Introduce yourself में क्या क्या बोलना है मेरे को? तो क्या क्या aspects हो सकता है introduce yourself पे? Can we think about it? Can I have some answers? Introduce yourself में क्या क्या चीज बोलना चाहिए?
You can talk about your hobbies.
Hobbies is one dimension. Hobbies and passions maybe. Let's again, how you play with words becomes an important part. The ma'am was saying, suppose I'm an interview board. I'm in an interview and the panel asks me, tell me what is your biggest strength. So I'll give you two answers. Both of them saying same thing, but you tell me what is the effect. One answer I'm saying is, I have a capacity to work hard. I'm a hard worker. One answer. Now I'm saying the same thing, but I say, from the past that I've lived with myself, or from my past experiences, I've discovered that I have an extreme capacity to work hard. Do you see the impact change? When somebody's saying, I'm hardworking, and just finishes it off that. And somebody's saying, I have an extreme capacity to work hard. Or somebody says, and of course you have to then prove it with back-end material. Somebody says, I'm a very, very structured thinker. So what the very, very does to the answer is that it shows that ये बंदा conviction के साथ आ रहा है. He's not just saying this कि जल्दी से बोल दें और खत्म करें. He's ready to stay on that point because he's ready. So the moment you communicate it that way, what happens is you're showing self-assurance to the interview board. So the prep process will involve two things. One is you will have to formulate the idea of what your answers have to be. मेरा इसका आंसर क्या क्या होना चाहिए? So going back, let's reconstruct. Hobbies and passions is one. So again, hobby. I have a hobby of stamp collection. I'm very passionate about stamp collection. You see the difference? The same thing. The guy might be doing the same thing in his life, but he's speaking in a different way. So these are stuff, of course, which you plan out during your interview prep, so that you can present it the best face forward when you actually go into the interview. So hobbies, passions is one thing. What else should you speak of? Strengths, weaknesses, definitely character traits. Right? If I was in your place, normally, if I am going into an interview, एक टेंडेंसी होता है स्टूडेंट्स का कि वीकनेस नहीं दिखाएंगे. My advice to you is do the opposite. 3 स्ट्रेंथ बताओ, 15 वीकनेस बताओ, और स्ट्रेंथ में इंक्लूड कर दो कि आई हैव अ एक्सट्रीम प्रोपेंसिटी टू वर्क ऑन माई वीकनेसेस. सो द मोमेंट एंड वीकनेस वो मत बताओ कि लेजी हूँ. वीकनेस क्या बताओ जो हम बता रहे थे सुबह. मेरा लैटरल थिंकिंग बहुत अच्छा नहीं चलता है. बंदा सोचेगा कि यार इसको लैटरल थिंकिंग और पता है. ठीक है. दूसरा, उसको सुबह से शाम आंसर ही मिल रहा है बोर्ड को कि आई एम अ प्रोक्रेस्टिनेटर, आई एम लेजी, आई एम कैजुअल, आई एम इमोशनल. ये आंसर्स मिल रहे हैं, और यहाँ पे बंदा आ रहा है बोल रहा है कि माय लैटरल थिंकिंग इज नॉट, आई एम नॉट अ वेरी गुड लैटरल थिंकर. द क्लास ऑफ द आंसर इज डिफरेंट. इट इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक नेपाल क्रिकेट टीम का कोई बैट्समैन खेल रहा है और इंडियन क्रिकेट टीम का बैट्समैन खेल रहा है. दैट इज द क्लास डिफरेंस between the two answers. So you'll have to come up with these classy thoughts, and they're all inside you. I'm not asking you to borrow it from someone else. You can't do that. But you need to go into an introspection and create these gems or these pearls, so that you can actually present your best foot forward for your prepared answers. And the first 7-8 questions are more or less prepared. In fact, 60 to 70% of what you will be asked in an interview, I mean, if you look at what an interview structure is, your interview will be about your past, your present, and your future. So 70% of your interview questions can actually be predicted based on your profile and based on what you speak in your first few answers. There will be 30% randomness in every interview. So, for example, मेरे IIM अहमदाबाद इंटरव्यू में मैंने पूछा कि 10 रिलीजन बताइए, name 10 religions. Right, I was a kid, 21-year-old kid, and obviously I had no experience or no knowledge of how interviews go at that time. और बताना शुरू किया. ठीक है, वो राज कपूर का सॉन्ग हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई 4 तो निकल गए. राइट, 4-5 मुश्किल से 5-6 भी पहुंचे. And I was a person who had never read anything in my life. My depth of knowledge, awareness was very, very poor. And then they started doing what this guy was speaking, Pavitra. I said, हमको और कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा है. Said, आराम से टाइम लो. I wanted them to move on to the next question. So I said, no sir, I'm not able to remember. Right, they're trying, the guy sitting there, I still remember this chap sitting in a white kurta pajama, right, and white flock of hair on his head, looking extremely sanguine and learned. Says, please take your time, Arun. And I'm under pressure. Time is passing. They're waiting. I'm Ahmedabad interview. Right? And I says, I hear myself uttering Tamilians. And this guy virtually jumped out of his chair and said, you think Tamilian is a religion? I'm a Tamilian, you're hurting me. I said, no sir, I have no such intention. But my interview was over. Because they had clearly seen what was the intention of this small exchange between them and me. What are they trying to test? They're not trying to test कि मेरे को 10 religion पता है कि नहीं. They're trying to test कि इसको pressure में डालो तो कैसे करता है. And what I had presented from my side was Arun Sharma pressure डालो तो Arun Sharma flat, he'll fall away. So I was not selected.